And I'm going to get my PowerPoint so you can see what I'm looking at. Well, let me just try to show you, on the whiteboard, the contractions. So it helps you a little bit to see. And let's see, we'll draw us a line. All righty. So let's see how we can do this. Okay, so, oh, that's my line. I don't want line. Let me just erase that. All right. Here's my pen. Here's my pen. That's highlighter. Here you go. All right. So here we go. We got contractions. All right. Not the best, but you got the drift. And so on the going up, it would be the increment. And then on the top is called the peak. And then going down is called a decrement. Okay, that's a contraction. And that's when we're helping her to breathe. Again, slow chest on the increment, come up to the peak or the acme would be faster, like the he. And the higher this contraction, the peak gets, the faster she would do her he blows. And then you have the decrement. And as soon as you can, like right in here, you try to get your patient go back to what? Slow chest breathing. Okay. And the reason why is because I want to prevent hyperventilation. Okay. And then, so that's how the breathing is. Now, when I'm looking at the contraction pattern, I just went over this, but here you have the beginning of the contraction. And so I want to know frequency. So I want to know how often my contractions are. That's called frequency. So I'm going to count from the beginning of one contraction, to the beginning of the next contraction. Okay, that's frequency. Now, I want to know how long they're lasting. So that would be what's the timing between, like right in here, okay? Or I would call that the duration. How long these contractions are lasting. So you have your boxes. I'm sorry. It's like you want to have these boxes and then you count them 1 to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay, so that duration, how long it's lasting would be 50 seconds. Okay, so that's my duration. I need to know about what's going on with the contractions so that I know she's not hyperstimulant, and she can tolerate this labor fine. Also, the baby has to tolerate contractions. And so again, remember I said during this time he's holding his breath. So I want my baby to remain healthy in utero during the labor process. That's my job, really, is to make sure that this baby stays nice and has lots of oxygen so that we have no more problems at birth. Okay. All right. So let me close that up. And I'm just going to pause this just. All right, here we're back again. And let me share my screen. And here we go. That's what I wanted. Okay, so we're back to now fetal heart rate. All right. So you have to know what the normal baseline of fetal heart rate is. 110 to 160. Write that down because you'll have to know that. All right, so anything below 110 would be considered bradycardia. Okay, anything greater than 160 is what? Tachycardia. Okay, so that's my normal baseline. The variability is those squiggly lines. So if I have none, it's undetectable. It's absent. That's never a good sign. That tells you your baby is not doing well. Let's see, minimal, less than 5. And when we're talking about variability, let me tell you, we're talking about the beat to beat. And then you have moderate, 5 to 25 beats. and then March would be greater than 25. So what do you think I would want to have? I want to have moderate variability. That means my baby is what? Well, okay. And then I have accelerations. Accelerations are A-OK. So I have now an increase of 10 beats for 10 seconds at less than 32 weeks. Yeah, because the poor little guy at 32 weeks, he's premature. If I have 15 beats for 15 seconds, if greater than 32 weeks, that's my accelerations. Okay, accelerations are A-OK because this baby is getting closer to term. So this baby would have more beats. All right. And then accelerations are usually periodic and episodic. That means that maybe baby got stimulated, moved, and he had an acceleration. That's a good sign. Okay. Just like your body, when you're out there and maybe you got scared, what happened to you? Your heart rate went up, accelerated. If you're running a marathon, especially, your heart rate goes up, correct? That's accelerations. Now, on the other hand, you have what we call decelerations. Decelerations are they're not good and they're not bad. It's all according to when they occur. So the deceleration, if I have an early deceleration, remember that's caused by head compression. That's the baby's head coming down. So, your baby's head is getting squished as he's coming through. So that's called an early deceleration. I love when I see that on the monitor. Because why? My patient now is dilated. She could be now 9 centimeters and the baby's descending. We're getting close to delivery. A late deceleration, on the other hand, is never good. A late deceleration is the uterine placenta insufficiency. The baby's not getting the oxygen it needs. So a baby cannot tolerate what we call recurrent lates, one after the other, because he's not getting what he needs. And eventually what happens is that your late decelerations, you lose your variability. You either get minimal or even absent, which is never good. And so then your baby's in jeopardy. Okay. All right. Then you get variables. Now, variables are caused by cord compression. So baby sometimes grabs onto his cord. And when he does that, I always say, let that cord go. And sure enough, baby let go of the cord and his heart rate comes back up. A variable is a sudden drop in fetal heart rate with a sudden increase. It goes up quickly. So it goes down quick and goes back up to baseline quick. Those are called variables. And they're called variables because they come in various sizes and shapes. So one could be, I've seen them as a U, shape of a U, the letter U, or the letter V, or even the letter W. Okay. And then a prolonged deceleration is not good either because baby can't tolerate the insult. And so eventually what happens is that you lose your variability. So you might have been having moderate amount of variability, which is good. But when you have those kind of prolonged decelerations, then you start to lose your variability. The baby goes, nurse, wake up. I'm in here and I need your help. And that's what I always said. The baby talks to the nurse, labor and delivery nurse, through the monitor. Okay. And so, you do get you have to take courses at the hospital to really, when you work in labor and delivery, to be able to interpret fetal monitor strip. Why? Because the doctors really depend upon the nurses to read these strips correctly. Now, over on the side here, you see veal chop. I'm sure you heard of this mnemonic, and it's a good one, especially when you're taking a test and you're going, okay, variable. What's caused? What are caused by variable? Oh yeah, the V for variable. Oh, and across is C. Oh, that's cord compression. You see what I mean? It kind of brings it back to your brain. And then early decelerations, again, are caused by head compression. The head's coming down. And the accelerations are A-OK, they're good. And then you have late decelerations, and that's where you get into problems with the placenta being insufficient and not delivering the amount of oxygen to this baby that this baby needs. So this is a brief overview of fetal monitoring. Okay. How we all doing? All right, so let me go on and good. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. I do appreciate that. Okay, I'm just going to stop share just for a second here. And I want to make sure that I am recording.